Hi everyone, my name is Goyhenetche and this is how to play Moose. In this video, what I will do is teach you how to win a Moose game. We'll go over the point system as far as like the highs, the lows, pairs, jokoa, or having 31 or higher. And I will then go through some examples of some games. So let's start. So the first thing you'll need for playing Moose is a deck of cards and some poker chips. When you get your deck, you will remove the joker, 8, 9s, and 10s. Goodbye. You'll then have 40 cards left in your deck. For our poker chips, because most Moose games go to 35 points, we will need 6 of 2 different types of color. They're usually red and blue, and then we'll need 8 whites. The reds and blues are worth 5 points. The singles are worth 1 point. Again, I'll go over the point system a little later in the video. So the first thing I'd like to teach you about Moose is that when you are dealt your Moose hand, everyone will have 4 cards. And in your 4 cards, the first thing you'll do is decide if you want to keep your cards or you will get rid of them. Eventually, when everybody wants to keep their cards, we'll go to the first stage of Moose, and that is the highs, or handia. So, for highs, the king in Moose is the high. The ace is the low. So here you can see this is kind of the order of the highs. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. King high, ace low, and that is highs, handia. We then go to lows, and ace is our best low. King is the worst low, just kind of the opposite of highs. Nothing too complicated at this point, and that is the second part of Moose. And again, I will be giving examples of the game later on in the video. This is kind of just to kind of get a little intro started going. So after the highs and lows, the next part will be pairs. Pairs gets a little more complicated, but the first thing you need to know about pairs is you need to have a pair. Pair of aces, pair of 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, 7, and all the way up to our, well, in this case, all the way to our jack. But king is the best pairs. Flop those around. Confusion. Those are pairs. Now, because I did mention earlier that everyone will be getting 4 cards, there is a chance where you can get 2 pair, which is called dobliak. You can also get 3 of a kind, which is called mediak. And then you have your basic pair, which is just something like that. And in this order, a pair from ace through king is kind of the order, and then 3 aces would beat, if the person only had 2 kings, 3 aces would beat 2 kings. From there, 3 kings would be the high for mediak, and then we would move on to dobliak. So any dobliak would beat any mediak. The way dobliak work is pretty simple. Not pretty simple, I'm sorry, a little confusing. So in this case, let's say our opponents had queens and 2s, and the other person had kings and aces. Because this player has the kings, this hand wins. Even though the queens and the 2s are better than the ace, it doesn't matter. Just having the highest pair in dobliak beats both these pairs, and this kind of goes away. So another example would be something like this, where this person had queens, and this person had, let's just say, jacks and 7s. Because in this scenario, the queens are the highest pair, this dobliak beats this dobliak. Okay, so let's move on. And that is the third stage of betting. So the fourth stage is jokoa. And jokoa is also a little more complicated. Jokoa means having 31 or higher. So each person has to have at least 31 or higher points. Face cards are worth 10. So right here in these 3 cards, this is 30 points, 10, 20, 30. This would be 31 points. This would be 32 points. And basically all the numbers are worth their values. 7, 7, 2, 2. The ace is 1 point, and so on. there is a chance that you can have four face cards. Let's pull one out just to show, and that would just basically be 40 points. Okay. The order of what is the best in jokoa, because if somebody has exactly 31, this is the best jokoa hand to have. The second best is 32. Now the next part gets a little confusing. The third best jokoa hand, it jumps to 40. And then you go reverse order. So the fourth best jokoa hand would be 37, and then the fifth would be 36, 35, 34, and 33. So 33 would be the worst jokoa hand as far as the order of what's best. Okay, so now what I like to do is go over some examples of the game. And so what I'll do is for this is we're actually going to keep track of the points. I am going to have two teams, and I think I have some volunteers that are going to play. I'm not paying them too much money, so it's kind of nice for them to help me out here. So our player 1 is going to be Luke Skywalker. Put him down there. Our player 2 for the other team will be Mickey Mouse. Our player who will be on the same team as Luke will be his son, Anakin. And then Mickey's partner will be good old Donald. So basically what we have here is we have the Jedi against Mickey and Donald. Alright, so in Moose, the way you figure out who starts is somebody will start shuffling the cards, and then what we'll do is we'll have Mickey and Anakin. They will basically break the deck, pretty simple. So Mickey will just pull his cards up like this, and then Anakin will flip the cards up like so. Whoever has the low card will draw. We'll put those back in order. So for this case, Anakin is going to be our dealer, and that is important to know because there is an order of who talks first. There's something called Eshku, which I will get into. So Anakin will shuffle. He will then have Mickey cut to his left, and he will deal counterclockwise, 4 cards. So first to Donald, then to Luke, then to Mickey, him, until everybody has 4 cards. So he'll deal Donald first. And in this, obviously my hand is kind of set so we can learn fastest way instead of shuffling and dealing. He'll then deal to Luke. Those are his cards. He'll do to his partner Mickey. Wow, this is amazing. I have never seen everyone have the same card so far. There's no way it's going to happen, is it? And then himself. And just remember, it goes 1 card at a time, not 4 cards at once. So everyone's got their cards. So the first thing what will happen is after Anakin is done dealing, or the dealer is done dealing, he'll put the cards to his right. And in this case, I know the video's going to get flipped around somehow, but this is to the right. And then, so the first person to his right will be the person called Eshku, or like the point person. And what that means, if you're Eshku, is at any time if there's a tie of cards, for example, Donald has a couple kings, Luke has a couple of kings, and he has a 3-4, and he has a 3-4. Eshku wins every time. So tie goes to Eshku. And then in the order of reverse. So if it came down to Luke and Mickey, Luke would be the person who gets the advantage. Mickey would have the advantage over Anakin. So in this case, and remember, the cards are flipped down. I only have them flipped up to see it for the video. Sorry, I got distracted by something. So the team that talks first will be Donald and Mickey because the deck is to the right and Donald is Eshku, so the team who's Eshku talks first. And what they'll talk about is if they want to play with the cards they have or if they want to go moose. They have to decide together first. In this case, because these cards are pretty crappy, as well as these, Donald and Mickey go moose. Now it is the Jedi's turn to talk. And they, because they have their Jedi power, just told themselves to their head that they don't like their cards. So they also want to go moose. So in moose, you can give away, if you go moose, you can give as many cards as you want away, but you have to give something away. If you go moose, you cannot keep 4 cards. You have to at least get rid of 1 or all 4. So in this case, everybody is getting rid of their cards because they don't like them. So then Anakin, because our dealer, he will pick up the cards. And remember, now in this case, after you go moose, you don't deal 1 at a time. If Donald needs 4 cards, you just give him 4 cards. And same thing with Luke. He needs 4 cards, so you just dish out 4 cards. Mickey needs 4 cards, so we give him 4 cards. And the dealer also needs 4 cards, so he will get 4 cards. Okay. Everyone's got their cards, and we're looking a lot better right now. So, dealer dealt, and the cards are to his right. Donald is still Eshku until the round is over. Remember, the first time you deal 1 at a time, after moose, if Donald needed 3, you just give him 3. If Luke only needed 1, you give him his 1, and so on. So, again, first thing we do when we get our cards is we decide if we want to play or we're going to moose. And if you want to play, you would say something like Minsa, or you just go right into the betting. So in this case, Mickey and Don are talking to each other, and they say, I both got really good cards, so they're feeling pretty good, and they do have good cards. So they say Minsa, or I want to play. And so the first stage, which we talked about last time, was we do the highs. And the person to the right of the dealer, the Eshku, always starts. So Donald, having 2 kings, is feeling pretty good about his 2 kings, so he wants to bet. And Donald can bet anywhere from 2 points to 35 points, or basically the entire match. So in this scenario, Donald will only bet 2 points, or he'll say Enbido. Now it's up to Team Jedi to decide whether or not they want to accept the bet. They can raise the bet, or they can kind of decline the bet. So they're talking to each other, and eventually Anakin, he wants to hold the bet to the end, and then we count the points. So Anakin will now say Iruki, meaning I want to hold those points to the very end until we flip our cards over. Because remember, no one is showing their cards in Moose. You're hiding your card. You don't want anyone to see what you have, just like poker. So again, Donald bet 2. He wants to hold it to the end of the game, so he says Iruki, or I want to hold that bet. Okay, and basically you can bet any amount you want. So Donald could have said, I bet 5 points or 10 points or whatever. But in this case, he bet 2 points, and he can hold it. So our next stage is smalls. And again, our Donald starts because he's to the right of the dealer. Donald also has very good smalls. He's got 2 aces. So he is going to bet, this time he's feeling a little more better about those aces, so he's going to bet 5 points. And now the Jedi are a little worried because they're wondering, what the heck does Donald have? Because he's got highs and lows. So he bet 5 points, or borscht. And now they're talking to each other, and Anakin has an ace over there, but really nothing followed. Ace-queen is pretty bad, especially in your second round. But then, you know, some people throw their aces away. But in this case, the Jedi aren't feeling too good. So they're going to decline the bet. And even though Donald bet 5, Anakin will say tira, or I decline. And basically, the Disney team, or Mickey Mouse and Donald, will get 1 point. If Donald bet 2 points, it's still 1 point. If Donald bet anything, even if you bet 35 points, it's still 1 point on the first bet. 1 point for Team Donald and Mickey. We then move on to the third stage, which is pairs, or pariak. The first thing everyone will have to do is say whether or not they have pairs. It'll start with our Eshku person. So Donald obviously has pairs. He'll say ba, or yes. Same with Luke, ba, ba, and ba. Everybody has pairs. So now we go into the betting. And Donald, feeling really good about that Dolbiak. Remember, we said earlier, you got those 2 kings on Dolbiak. It really beats everything. The only thing that could beat this is if somebody had another pair of kings and better aces. So that's why he'll start talking to his partner, and if these two are talking, he'd ask Mickey, hey, you got a king? And Mickey's got a king, so he would know that neither of them would have 2 kings. Moving on. So Donald wants to bet, and Donald, he wants to bet 2 more again, just 2 this time. He's feeling out the Jedi. Now Luke over here, he's feeling pretty good with his Dolbiak, He's got two kings and two queens and two jacks. However, he probably realizes about the two kings, but anyways, the Jedi's getting a little cocky. So he's going to say betis, or it means again. So what that means is he wants to bet two more, kind of like I'll raise you in poker. So Donald bet two, Luke bet two more, betis. So now we're up to 4 points. Now it's Donald's turn to decide what he wants to do. And he could do the same thing. You decline, you can hold it till the end, or you can raise it. So Donald, he is going to decline this bet. For some reason, he just doesn't like this. Luke pulled out his lightsaber and scared him. So he's going to decline. So what happens is after somebody makes a bet, and somebody doubles it, and then somebody declines, this is where it gets a little complicated. Because he bet two, and he said two more, and now Donald declines, because Donald bet two from the first bet, it's 2 points for the decline. Okay? So I know that might be a little confusing, so we'll do another example of what would happen. Let's say this time, let's start fresh. Everybody says yes on pairs, and Donald starts to betting. Feeling good about those kings, he says borscht, or 5. He bets 5 points. And Luke says, I want to bet 3, or he says betis, 5 more. So now we're up to 10 points this time. Donald getting scared again, he declines. Because he bet 5, and he said betis, or 5 more, his 5 points becomes their 5 points because he declines it. So now instead of getting 2 whites, they're going to get a colored chip. And so the colored chip, you usually want to keep your whites on the same side. So actually the whites would have went to Anakin, so the colors will go to the Jedi, except remember I told you red is the better color, so they choose red. So they get their 5 points. After the pairs, we then move on to jokoa, 31 or higher. So this round starts off just like pairs. So everyone will have to say yes or no if they have it. So Donald in this scenario has 10, 20, 21, 22. He does not have it, so he says no, I don't have it, or S. Luke has 40 points. Mickey has 31, 10, 20, 31. And Anakin has 31, 10, 20, 31. So these 3 players have jokoa. Donald will not reveal his cards until everybody is done, so keep your cards down. So now because Donald's out, the betting goes counterclockwise, and so Luke will start the betting. Luke, not feeling too good about his 40, he's going to pass. So he's going to say paso, or pasho. So he passes the betting to Mickey. Now Mickey has some decisions to make. He can actually pass the bet right now and let it go to Anakin, or he can bet. Mickey, because he got 31, remember 31 is our best, 40 was our second best, but Anakin also has 31. So Mickey's going to say envido. These two are going to talk it over, and Anakin's going to let his partner know. He's like, hey, I got 31. But Luke's going to say, well, remember, as far as the rules of Eshku go, or the person who, to the right of the dealer, even though if you have 31 and Mickey has 31, he wins on the tie because he's ahead of you. So he's going to feel a little cautious here, and he's just going to say iruki, or I hold the bet. Once that happens, once we are done with the final stage, everybody flips their cards over. And so this is what will happen. Now we go to the scoring system. So you start with the highs. So we have to remember what happened on highs. So in highs, Donald bet 2. And then the Jedi, I believe they said iruki. Yes, they did say iruki. And remember, iruki means hold to the end. So since Donald bet 2, and now that we're seeing our cards, we know that Donald's 2 kings beats, well, his 1 king beats everything here, because that 1 king will beat the queens and the jack. And in this case here, his 2 kings will beat his king-queen. And that's it. So once his highs beat his first and second, it's over. So these 2 would tie, the kings would tie, then you go to the next high, the king beats the queen, so Donald will win. His bet was 2, we held it, so now Donald will collect his 2 points. So now Team McKay has 3, and they have 5. We then go on to smalls. In smalls, Donald bet again, and I do remember that the Jedi declined this bet, and they said Tita, that's where that other 3rd point came from. We then move on to pairs. In pairs, we had another Tita. Remember, Team Disney or Team Mickey and Donald. Donald he was getting a little scared when Luke pulled out that lightsaber, so he decided to decline the bet. So even though Donald and Mickey both have pairs, they don't collect points because they didn't win the bet. The team that wins the bet collects points for the pairs. So the way the scoring works for additional points in pairs is any pair is 1 point. Dolbiak is 3 points. The Mediak, or 3 of a kind, so this would be Mediak, remember, we'll just flip these cards really quick and we'll flip them back, would be 2 points. So we'll take that back to where it was. So Anakin has 1 point for his queens, and Luke has 3 points for his Dolbiak. So they'll take 3 more points. Okay, so now Team Jedi have 8, Mickey and Donald have 3. Now we go on to jokoa. In jokoa, Mickey bet 2, and Anakin held it, or he said iruki. So now we look at the points. So now Anakin has Luke has 40, Mickey has 31, which beats his, but Anakin also has 31. But because Mickey is Eshku, in this order, he is before Anakin, he wins. So he will get 2 points for the bet and 3 points for having 31 or higher. Now, because he has exactly 31, that's 3 points. If he had anything else, 40, 32, or better, it's 2 points. So because he has 31, that's 3 points. So 2 for the bet and 3 for jokoa, 5 points. So he will also collect a pie piece. So in this scenario, each team ends the round, and after you end the round, you just basically collect the cards, or the person who's next. So Donald is going to be our next dealer. The person who's Eshku becomes the dealer. He'll collect the cards, and he will shuffle them. So now what I'm going to do is actually do kind of a scenario what really would happen, and we'll just kind of play it out to see what happens. Donald will get a couple shuffles. Anakin will cut it. He will then deal counterclockwise, starting with the person to his right. And for this purposes, we'll flip the cards up. And this is more kind of realistic as to what a moose hand would look like. Alright. So Donald dealt. He takes the deck. He moves it to his right. So now Luke is our Eshku. And Team Jedi they will talk first. So they will decide whether they want to play or if they want to go moose. The Jedi aren't too happy with their cards, because you have to keep in mind when looking at these cards, you have to keep in mind highs, lows, pairs, and 31. And neither one of them have great highs. Neither one has a pair, and neither one has 31 or higher. So they're going to go moose. Now it comes to Team Mickey and Donald. Mickey has a pair, but nothing follows, so he tells his partner that. Donald has a king and a queen, and he actually has a good pundua, which we'll go into at the end of this round, which means if nobody has 31, there is a little stage that happens after that. So Donald, feeling that the Jedi don't have anything here, he doesn't want to let them get new cards, so he's just going to come out and say, you know, let's play, minse, or I want to play. So now because he wants to play, everybody has to play. Luke starts the betting because he is to the right. So Luke says Pasho, he passes. Mickey will pass, or Pasho with nothing. Pasho, Donald's got that king-queen. He's going to say, MB though, or I bet 2. Luke and Anakin, they really don't have a king. He's got a queen-jack, but you know he's not really feeling queen-jack. So they will say Tita, or we decline the bet. 1 point for Donald Mickey. We then move on to smalls. Start with our Eshku. Luke has an ace. He's feeling pretty good about that ace. He wants to steal a point. So he'll say envido. Mickey doesn't like what Luke's doing here. Doesn't want to get bullied around. So he thinks Luke might be bluffing. So he's going to say veris. Luke, not being scared, because he can read Mickey's mind, which is kind of unfair at this point, he is now going to say jordao, or I bet the whole game. And that term again is jordao. And it is a fun term to use because it's basically saying like all in for like Texas Hold'em. And basically what that means is I bet the entire game, or I bet as many points are left that we need to win. Luke said envido, he said veris. Luke now says jordao, or I bet the whole game. Now Mickey's got a pretty good decision here. He can either accept this bet or decline it. If he declines it, it's going to be 4 points. 2, 2, jordao, and then so the 4 points were before that jordao. It's kind of like the bet before the bet, or the bets before the bet is the total for the tira. So it'll be 2, 2, jordao. If he declines it, it's 4 points. If it was like 5, 5, jordao, and then he'd tira, then it would be 10 points. But in this case, it's 2, 2, jordao. Mickey's now scared. He doesn't want it, so he declines. He says, tira, I don't want it. So 4 points go to Team Jedi. Now, because they already have, they have 2 over here. They have 4 points, so they have 7. 7 plus 4 is 11. So Luke will take a blue chip, and then we'll put in 1. So now they have 2 colors and 1. That's 11. After smalls, we move on to pairs. S or no, ba with the 2s, S, S. So there's no betting in this case because Mickey has pairs and nobody else, no one from the other team has pairs, so there's no betting. So we move on to the next stage. Jokoa, 31 or higher. S, 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 S. So this is the stage. What this next stage called is called pundua, and it means 30 or less. The order for 30 or less is just in numerical order, counting down, so 30 would be the best, 29, 28, and so on. So if you look at all the cards and add them up, we see that Luke has, 10, 17, 18, 22. Mickey has 5, 7, 9, 16. Anakin has 10, 23, 25. And Donald has 10, 22, and 28. So Donald has the best pundua hand here. And it just works just like the other hands. We bet, they can raise, decline, bet the whole game, and so on. So obviously Luke will start. He'll say pass. Mickey say pass at pasho. Anakin just going to throw something out there. He'll say borscht. I bet 5. Now Donald, a little worried here. He's got 28, but he's not, remember, if Anakin has 28, his 28 beats Donald. So Donald's really thinking like, well, the only way I can lose to him is if Anakin has 28 or higher. So Donald's just basically going to say, you know what, I'm gonna call you. I don't think you got it, so I'm going to say Iruki. I'm going to hold it. So after that, because we're all done, everybody flips their cards over. So we go in the way of the scoring system. So we start with the highs. In the highs, the Jedi declined. They said tira. In the smalls, I know Mickey and Donald said tira, I believe. I hope. Well, in the pairs, I remember that Mickey was the only one that had a pair, so he gets 1 point for those pairs. And now because Donald actually has 4 over here, where they have 9 total, he'll put his 4 in, and he will get a blue chip. For pundua now, because it was 30 or less. Donald's 28 beats Anakin's 25. So the bet was 5 points from Anakin. So Donald gets 5 points, plus he gets 1 for having the best pundua. So they will collect 5 and 1 for pundua. Now, let's just say there was a scenario, and I say the best pundua, but let's just say there was a scenario where, let's say Anakin did win this round, like Donald declined it, and Anakin won. Well, he would still get, even though he didn't technically have the best pundua, he still gets 1 point for having the pundua. All right? So that is a pretty simple way to explain moose. There are other things as far as strategy goes, but we're not going to go into that. This is the basics only. I'm sure I missed something. If you're watching this video and you think there's something I missed, please put in the comments section. Or if I made a mistake as far as my pronunciation goes, or please put that in the comment section as well. But enjoy playing Moose. It's a lot of fun. Practice with your friends and family. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at joe_goyhenetche@yahoo.com. Thanks a lot.